All right, here I am. Get our
Hello,
recording
John.
started here. It is July 27th. All right. So yeah, it is. I just heard the tail end of Helene there about different views, and yet people have different views of everything. It's that's that's an important thing to really understand too, because when you're communicating to people, if they have different views and you're not understanding that and communicating in that way, that could be a real detriment to you as far as your conversion ratios. So one of the things I wanted to touch on today was traffic. And I know I've said this many times before. Traffic's always at the end of the ACT program, right? It's after you've created messaging and all that. And what I tell everybody is that when you jump into traffic prematurely, it's going to be just expensive. It's like think of traffic as a magnifying glass. It's going to magnify anything that you put it on top of. So if you have problems, guess what it's going to do? It's going to magnify them. And I think a lot of people that jumped into the beta test program found that out. They found out that they've got problems and it magnified it and let them see them. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to understand that you've got problems with your conversion, problems with your funnel, problems with your offer, all that stuff. It's a great thing to figure that out. The sooner you figure it out, the better, because then you can work on it, fix it. But, it was a perfect example. And, I've done this many times myself. In fact, when I did my first beta test of the program, I did the same thing. I was just playing around with it to see what it would do. I was not ready to receive 600 leads, right? So I sat on them and didn't do anything with them, and it just wound up costing me $2 a piece to sit on 600 leads. So I make these mistakes too. But one thing that I've also seen, and I know I do definitely promote laziness for sure, but if you guys are getting lazy and using Chat GPT and you're not really thinking for it, you might be running into even more problems. The whole thing that we came up with, I told everybody, use Chat GPT, let it do the heavy lifting for you. But that doesn't mean it's going to do all the lifting for you. You still have to do the final polish. And I cannot believe how many times I've seen everybody that says the email's not working. I say, send me the email that you're sending out. Let me take a look at it. And almost every one of them started off with that whole Chat GPT. I hope this email finds you well. And you know what? Since I've pointed that out a couple of weeks ago, I've been opening emails in my email box. Usually I just throw them in the trash. I can sniff garbage a mile away, and I usually just dump them at light speed. But I've actually been clicking on them, opening them up, and every freaking one of them, I hope this email finds you well. it's comical. When you do things that everyone else does, you become just part of the noise. And if you are part of the noise, you are not going to win in advertising. You are not going to be the one that is unique. That's where the whole big idea thing comes in. You've got to lead with what's important to who you're talking to. That is job number one. The other thing is initial conversations. You need to think about, like, when you're getting traffic and it's cold traffic, which most traffic is cold. It's very odd that you would have warm traffic, right? Unless it's off of your own list. So when you're talking about advertising and purchasing traffic of any nature from any source, consider it cold traffic. Consider this like elevator speech. You're not going into details. All you're trying to do is evoke curiosity so you can see if somebody is interested or not. That's it. That's the whole purpose of the initial contact. It's not to throw up on them. It's just to grab their attention and get them to take an action. So the length of your emails, like I've used Frank Kern as an example, a lot of his emails is just 1 or 2 sentences. It's just like, throw the bomb, here's the link, that's it. That's all I got for you guys. You're interested or you're not. And it works so much better than opening up an email and you look at it. Because most people, I mean, think how busy you are during the day. Even if you're not busy, you got stuff you want to do. You don't want to work, right? You don't want to be sitting there going through email. So that makes you busy. So if you open an email and it's like a big page, you're going to go, oh, not today, not now. You're just going to click off it and you probably never revisit it again. And that's what you're doing to these people. If you're inundating them with all that information, that's basically what you're doing. So I wanted to show some of these things, show some of the examples that I've been looking at, and show you guys what I'm putting together as well. So this is for anybody that's going to be in the leads program. I've started to put the membership area together. So under the search AI, I've got a link here called email templates. So this is the email templates, but down here I've got using Chat GPT, and I just put a couple in here, just copy paste. These were ones that people had sent me to look at. So again, I didn't comb through these. I haven't edited these yet, but I will at this point. I will parse these down and make these usable. But you know, here's a way to open it up. I recently came across your online search for keywords associated with, you know, whatever, yada yada yada. I see this all the time as well. I open these emails, you know, and I get this. I came across your site. You know, that just reeks of bullshit. So you don't want to open it up like that. So here's another one. There it is. Kiss of death. I hope this email finds you well. Nobody writes an email like that. When was the last time you wrote an email to somebody and opened it with that? Right? That's not how we communicate. So here it is again. I mean, Chat GPT just routinely spits that out in the beginning of an email. So you don't want to be seen as, oh, this is somebody just using Chat GPT to spam. So you need to read the stuff, and you need to make it relevant. This is way too much. Like, I pasted these in here, and now I'm coming back and I'm like, I got to get these out of here. These are not good examples. So this is one. I don't know if Judy is on here or not, but she had sent one. She's doing stem cell stuff, stem cell pain relief.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. I'm going to use you as an example. I hope that's okay.
Please do.
So the first email that she sent me, it had way too much. There was way too much in it. And then she sent this one back, which was a shorter version, and it was pretty good. I mean, it was.
Wait, that one that I sent you was ideas of what I was going to give them after they answered me.
Oh, okay.
You know,
okay.
That was my guide to pain relief or stuff about the product.
Gotcha.
This was the original email.
Okay. And this was pretty good.
That nobody answered.
So nobody answered this one here. Okay. So here, if you're looking for pain relief, I may be able to help. I have found something that has changed my life. What have you been trying up till now? This is the tripping point right here. Like, you're entering into a conversation like they know you, and when they don't. So you're, you know, starting that I think is a tripping point. And then asking another question, would you like? That's an easy no answer. I would never open up with an answer that they could potentially say no to. So that was the second tripping point. And then email me back. I'll send you a guide to pain relief that offers all of these and more. So it's not specific. So this is what I responded back to her. And I actually updated this a little bit since I sent it to you last time, Judy. It says, if you're looking for pain relief, I may be able to help. So very similar here, in fact, identical. But the second one, I found something that has changed my life. Okay, so that one, same there. Here's where it's different. So instead of asking a couple of questions, I'm basically telling them what to do. Click the link below to find out about a new revolutionary, non-invasive, natural, holistic option for pain relief. That's a lot of adjective words. Now that I look at it, you might be able to cut that down a little bit. Like, I don't think you need non-invasive. They may not even know what that means. Like revolutionary, natural, holistic. You could probably just use natural. Revolutionary, natural option for pain relief. That actually sounds a lot better. The less words, the better here. Some of the best copywriters, when they teach copywriting, what they teach you to do is they teach you to look at every word in the copy. And if you can remove a word and it means the same thing, remove it. As few words as possible. Okay, so you're telling them what to do. Click the link below to find out about a new revolutionary natural option for pain relief. Now, if this person's in pain, that might be of interest to them, and you just told them what to do. And then here, the only thing you have to lose is your pain. So it's a little humorous, it's a little light. And then here I changed this from best regards. You don't need thanks and best regards. So just one salutation. And I changed it here to, I look forward to putting that pain behind you, Judy. You don't need your email. You don't need your last name. This is just real light, open communication to get the ball rolling. Now, if they don't respond to this, then you're talking to the wrong person, I think. But when you're opening these communications, you need to really be this short, this sweet, this to the point. Give them something to do. Tell them what to do. Tell them what they're going to get. Click the button or click the link below to find out about a new revolutionary natural option for pain relief. So that's like it's like dropping a bomb on them and then walking away and seeing if they chase you. And that's the best thing you can do. Like if you're at a marketing event, if you're networking, you don't go into detail. You just give them a teaser and then walk away and see if they chase you and say, whoa, tell me more, tell me more. That's
Well, I didn't hear what you said. If they don't answer this, you said something, but I couldn't hear it.
If they don't answer this, if they don't respond to this, either they didn't open it, which would be the subject line. If they didn't open it, then you didn't get your chance. But if they open it and they look at this and they don't respond, then they're probably not interested. They're just not the right person. And this is a numbers game. You know, anytime you're talking about traffic of any sort, it's a numbers game. It's like, how many can you convert? You have to run a fair number of people through the system to figure out if it's working or not. Like you can't send this to 10 people and make a call whether it works or not. That's not a big enough pool to make an educated decision. When you're looking at conversion numbers, they're in fractional percentages in many cases. So if you're talking about 1%, which in the email, a lot of times 1% is an acceptable ratio. Now, it's not acceptable to me. I don't think 1% would be worth my while, but in the email, in cold email, 1% is considered pretty good. what that says is that's 1 out of 100. So if you haven't sent like 1,000 emails, you're not going to really know if you've got 1% yet. I mean, it could be like you send 100 and it's the 101, the 101st one. That's the one that's going to opt in and purchase. So you don't have enough pool size to figure it out. So you got to keep all that stuff in mind. The more you have access to data, like if you're emailing these from a program that will tell you the open rates, like I know in Kartra, you can't do cold email from Kartra, but with your email that you do run in Kartra, it gives you your open rates, it gives you the click rate, it gives you all the analytics that you need to know, to judge, hey, what's working. It'll even do split tests and tell you which one is better than the other. So that's really cool. Another really neat thing about Kartra is it'll actually tell you when your best open rates are based on the time and day of the week. Like it has seen me now for 3 years send emails out, different days, different times. And it tells me right in my stats, it says your best open rate is weekend evenings. So if I want to really get attention, I will send my emails out to my list on the weekend evenings, right? That's going to increase my open rate. That's going to increase my chances. That's going to increase my ratios and increase my sales just by knowing that. Kartra couldn't have given me that information without a lot of data. So when you're evaluating and you're doing this stuff, keep in mind you can't make an educated decision with just a few test samples. You got to run quite a few. But in the process of that, I want you guys to be as I don't know what the word is, as smart as possible with how you're doing this. So you've got all the information, like all the information about ACT. The way you're going to figure this out is your avatar. What do they want? What's important to them? You got to hit on those points really quick. You can't open up with all the, just a bunch of mumbo jumbo. They're not going to read the email. If the first sentence isn't talking to them and what's important to them, you're going to lose in this game. Email is really, really effective, but it's not an easy animal to master. Like Russ asked me about Matt Basak. Matt Basak is a great email marketer. He teaches courses on email marketing. His stuff is really good. As far as like Matt himself, he is a fast talker. He's not my style, of somebody to follow, but his information is really good. Like if I were to listen to him, I would get a lot out of it, but I would have to, usually I'm turning the speed up on videos, right, to get through them quicker. On his, I'd have to turn it down so I could understand what he's saying, because he really is a fast talker and he's very excited. He is like just all over the place. It's like the ultimate case of ADD. But I got to hand it to him. He's been at this for a long time. He's been doing email marketing possibly as long as I've been doing SEO. That tells you how long he's been at this. So if
his last name again, John?
Matt Basak, B-A-C-A-C-K, I believe. So he's got courses on email marketing, all that stuff. That's kind of his specialty. So he might be a good one to, I was thinking about reaching out to him. I've known Matt for years. We've spoken at many conferences together. And I was thinking about reaching out to him and getting him to test some of these leads. Because if anybody can convert with email, it's that guy. So that might be a good thing for me to do here. Anyway, Rashid, you got your hand up there?
Yeah, quick question. You said something about 1% conversion on this cold email being a good one. Is that for 1% that ends up in a sale, or is that 1% that even opens
That's a
in
one. That's an open.
1% open?
That's
rate?
yeah. I mean, that's an open. But keep in mind, I'm talking about truly cold email. Most people that do cold email, they're buying a list. They're buying a data list, and it's got 100,000 people on it, and they're not qualified. In many cases, the data is old, and they're not good leads. It's basically, it's a box of shit, and you're going to figure out if there's any leads in it. The thing about the leads that we're doing in the unlimited leads program, these leads are people that are actively searching, like right now. So I'm expecting these to be considerably better than that. Like if I get 1% out of these, I wouldn't be very happy about it. I'd be like, we need a better data source. So these should be considerably better than buying just, a cold email list and just blasting out, a million emails to hope for the best.
So on a good email letter, what would be considered a decent return?
Matt talks about like 30 and 40% open rates, and 2 of our beta testers that are actually email marketers, that's what they've got. They had between 30 and 40% open rates. So that tells me these leads are good. The thing is going to be, how do you work with them? You're going to need a marketing campaign. And this is like, I've been saying this for decades, and I've been saying it within the ACT program since day one. You need an effective marketing campaign for client acquisition in your business. If you don't, you're going to struggle. I'm not saying you'll fail, but you're going to struggle, and you're probably going to struggle to the point of failure where you just give up. You just throw in the towel. There's no other way around it. If you can't acquire customers, your business is not going to work. You need customers to pay you. If you don't have customers paying you, you don't have a business. And if you just back that out, like you look at the end result, okay, we need customers, we need money. Let's go further. We need money, right? To get money, you need customers to pay you. To get customers to pay you, you've got to do a bunch of things. You have to eliminate their objections so they'll actually make a purchase. Before you eliminate the objection, you have to create demand and desire. Before you create demand and desire, you have to grab their attention. Before you grab their attention, you have to know how to grab their attention. What are they interested in? What are their concerns? What are their wants, their needs, their desires? What keeps them up at night? And if we've rewound, we went to the end game and we rewound. And where does it put us? Puts us at the first step of ACT. Every time. There is no other way. You can get lucky. You can have people spoon feed you. But I'm telling you right now, if you want to run a successful business and you want it to be predictable, there's no other way. You have to be able to grab attention. You have to know what they're interested in. You have to understand them and be able to communicate with them. Once you're there, you've got to be able to create demand and desire. The best, easiest way I know to do that is to explain how what you do works. Explain how the thing that you're going to sell them is going to get them what they want. That is called convincing the head. You seduce the heart first with promise. You talk about their desired outcome. You talk about what they want, what they need, what they think they want. You talk about that. That seduces the heart. That gets their attention and starts the process of creating demand and desire. In the process of that, you have to convince the head. The head's going to get in the way. The heart wants what it wants. It's like a little kid, wants it now, doesn't care about anything else. It just wants what it wants. The head is there to protect the heart. The head wants to make sure the heart doesn't get broken. So the head's the first thing going to jump in the way and say, I don't believe it. Convince me. And if you don't convince it, that's the end of the game. That's where you have to talk about logic and reason. Here's how it works. Here's what it's going to do for you. Here's why it works. You're convincing the head. You're convincing the head, oh, hey, this makes a lot of sense. Now I understand why it hasn't worked before. Now I understand why the other product I purchased was a dud. I get it. Because you just explained it to them. So that's eliminating objections. And then you craft an offer. And again, you can create objections in your offer, right? I've seen a lot of people that they've done the first part fabulous. They grabbed attention. They created demand and desire. They eliminated objections, and now they're time for the offer, and they blow it. They make a too good to be true offer, and they don't justify the discount. Like, you know, if you stack up, hey, this thing's worth, you know, $10,000, but I'm going to give it to you for $2.97 today, right? That just screams bullshit. It's like, why would you give me $1,000 bill for $3? Right? That's not logical. All of a sudden, you just threw a wrench in the gears. If you're going to do that, you have to tell them why you're doing it. Again, you have to convince the head. You've seduced the heart. The heart loves discounts. The heart loves to save money. But you created a massive objection in the process, and you didn't address it. So if you look at the process of creating an irresistible offer, one of the pieces in there is rationalize the discount. If you're going to cut the price, you have to rationalize why, or you're going to create an objection. So again, this thing fits together like a puzzle. And if you're missing pieces to the puzzle, you might get the picture of what the puzzle is, but it's not going to be as good as if all the pieces are in place, right? It might work missing a couple pieces, but it's not going to work as good as if they're all complete. So I don't really know what else I can do other than give you all the pieces, which they're all in the ACT program. I guarantee you it's not missing anything. I've been doing this for years, and I keep looking for what are we missing? There's nothing missing. The only thing missing is the implementation of it. And, you know, we can say that, you know, we can make all kinds of excuses, but the facts are the facts. You need the pieces of the puzzle to make the thing go. It's like if you put a car together and you forget to put pieces in the engine, you know, it might run down the street, but then all of a sudden it's going to lock up. It's going to blow up. It's not going to take you all the way, you know, to 100,000 miles. All right, Richard, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, John. I wanted, it's kind of an old thing here, but I realized last night, Edwin and I, he's on the call here, have been trying to figure out how to get the website you built to work. And I realized where the snag is that at the time the website was supposed to go live, his realtor decided to do something weird and put a pin in everything. And it was, the website was ready to go live, but she stopped it. And she's been messing around now for several months. And now that she's back and wants to make the site live, we never got the site handed off to us. Your guys built the site from scratch with a bunch of plugins and that sort of stuff. And it seems, you know, the website's great, but we don't know what the plugins are, how they interact, or what they relate. And I know that you personally don't build these sites, but was wondering, we need to talk with whoever put the site together to say, here are the plugins, here's how they work, here's how they interact. You don't want to delete this one because it'll break the system, or, you know, just basically a 15 to 20 minute handoff call to just brief us on what the website, you know, how it was put together, how the parts interact, and that sort of stuff. We didn't get that, and that stuff's that information is really hard to just intuit without having somebody give us a quick handoff call. And I was wondering, how do we schedule a handoff call with someone to walk us through what you guys built, so we know how it all works and interacts and stuff?
Yeah, I can do that. Just set up one of the 15-minute consult calls. And
Do you want me to do it from the front page in the front, or do you want me to do it by submitting a support ticket? What's the best way to do that?
No, that's scheduling a call. So just use it off my website there.
Okay, I'll go do that right now. Thanks, John.
I'll give you the rundown.
Well, perfect. That's what we're missing, and we really need that last little bit of handoff. So thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. All right, Russell.
Hey, John, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How's it going?
Good. So I was on the leads call last week for about 15 minutes, and then I had to jump off. I had another appointment to go to, but I did listen to the replay. And from what I'm gathering is a few things. We don't want to use our domain name email because we're sending cold emails, and it's basically like sending spam.
Correct.
So I'm searching for an application that's going to do a couple things that I could send the emails with. I have a Gmail account, and I could, you know, copy and paste into Gmail one by one, which is very tedious, and it's not going to give me any analytics. It's not going to let me know who clicked on the email, who opened the email, if they clicked the link or anything like that. And I heard in the call that there was a program called GMass and another program called Mailgun. I
Yes.
was wondering if anybody had any experience with those two applications, since we can't use Kartra because Kartra won't work with cold email either, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever you're dealing with, you know, with any kind of cold emails, you really want to do that off of a system that you don't care about. You know, an email that is disposable. Now, that's only for the initial contact, though. That's just like for the first email out.
Correct.
Because once you do that, then you're asking them to click a link, and then they could go to a Kartra landing page, and you can give them your lead magnet or, you know, schedule an appointment or whatever you want to do. Then you've got them inside your regular system, and you can just, you know, go as usual. But what I heard, I haven't used it, but somebody was saying that they really like the GMass program because they can use a regular, you know, throwaway Gmail address, and it integrates, and supposedly it hooks right up to that data sheet, that Google Doc.
Yes.
So you might take a look at that. I think that would probably be more beneficial than trying to figure out how to use Mailgun. Mailgun
Okay.
is like that's more serious, you know, bulk email type program. One of the things I have my programmers working on, we're trying to get it into the actual launch. So when we launch the product, I'm hoping to have it built right in. So and what I want built in there is the mail program that you can check a button if you want to use the internal program to mail the people instantly. That way, when the lead comes in, it hits that, and your email just flies right out the handle.
Which program is that you're trying to build in?
We're trying to build SendGrid into the
SendGrid.
program. Yeah. SendGrid actually integrates with Kartra as well. So if that's the case, you know, you can actually integrate the thing right into Kartra after the fact.
I don't know, does SendGrid give you analytics, like if someone clicked on a link or opened an email?
I believe it does. Yeah, SendGrid has its own control panel. So it's a full-blown email marketing system. So it's right, you know, it's got the whole control panel and everything right in there. You can see bounces, you can see open rates, all that stuff.
Okay.
I haven't used it, so I'm not like, I'm not familiar with the ins and outs of it, but I do know that it has all that stuff in there. Richard, have
John?
you used it?
I've been trying to set that up. I've been trying to get SendGrid to work for 2 weeks now. And they have, their support consists of go here, type in your question, and they give you a whole list of documents that explain about. It says it'll do this and it'll do that and it'll do this and it'll do that, but nowhere does explain how to actually make the system do this or that. There's no place where it actually gives you the content and the information to do it. And I still haven't, after 2 weeks, been able to get it to actually send an email. I finally found a system called, oh, I even forget what it's called, but it merges in with Outlook directly into your Outlook browser and lets you send all the emails you want. And Outlook lets you send 10,000 emails a day for free, and it's $4 a month. So I'm going to use that until your system comes online, where I can actually do it inside the system, because I've tried SendGrid, I've called MailChimp, I've called Magnetic Marketing, and one other one, and all of them require programming knowledge at some level. You have to know you have to understand code at least enough to know what code you want to paste and where it's supposed to go. And I don't, and it's just, it's been a waste of 3 weeks.
That's the whole thing. Like, if you broach over into the bulk email world, that requires some skill. That definitely requires some skill. That's why we're trying to build it in. We're trying to make it to where, you know, this thing is just automated. You put in the email you want to send, the subject line you want to send, and away it goes. And mail merge the keywords in if you want to mail merge the keywords and all that good stuff. So it is an advanced type of thing. Like, sending bulk email is not for the faint of heart. Let's just say that.
It's been an absolute disaster for the better part of 3 weeks. I'm still trying to get enough of an email campaign to work to actually send out those leads you gave me a month ago. It still isn't up and working. So I figure if I can just get them, I may end up having to send them out manually through Outlook till you get this thing set up so we can actually do it inside the system, because doing it out there in the wild is, wow, that's really deep water and it's shark infested.
Well, the GMAS, and again, I haven't used it, but a couple of people have been using it, and they say it's simple, it's cheap, integrates right with Gmail, integrates with the Google Doc, and all that good stuff. But that's why we're trying to build it into the system and kind of remove that bug, because I would really like to create the system to where it's simple and anybody can use it. So like, somebody comes in, runs through ACT, and they need traffic, they don't have to go through the learning curve of setting up pay-per-click campaigns. They don't have to go through the learning curve of SEO and wait 6 months to a year to get their first traffic from SEO. They'll be able to go in there and buy specific targeted leads for what they're trying to sell. That is my goal. I mean, that if I can put that on the end of ACT, it'll be the ultimate training program. It'll be the ultimate program there is for marketing. So that's my goal with it. AI and all the programming, robotics, and all that stuff has, you know, all of a sudden magically made it possible. So I'm really excited about it. It's just, you know, there's always a few hurdles left to bring it down to where anybody can use it. So we're not quite there yet. That's why we're betaing it. And thankfully there's been a few people in the group that, you know, they are hardcore email marketers. They're very familiar with this stuff, and they're able to actually run those tests that I need to see the results on. And when they told me they're getting 30 and 40% open rates, I was just like, okay, now I know what kind of tiger I've got by the tail here. It's what I was
are you talking months or weeks before you think the beta might be ready to roll out? Just any way to set expectations?
I think expectations at the outside edge were probably 6 weeks, possibly 4 weeks. I think it's going to be at least 4. 4, hopefully no more than 6. Because there's a lot of people chomping at the bit to promote this thing. This is this
Oh,
may
yeah.
this may be my my creme de la creme here.
John, not to get too dark on this sort of thing, but God forbid Moby Dick eats you when you're out in the boat. Will this program continue on without you? How do we know that this continues if the unfortunate happens and Moby Dick gets you?
Now, this act will continue. This will continue. All the stuff that I have built doesn't require me. I mean, really, you guys don't need me. I'm just here as a convenience for you. The program is there. All I do here is just repeat what I've already said. That's really it. I mean,
Just so long as the software keeps running, John, the software keeps running. That's the important part.
The software will keep running. The people behind it will keep running. I may not be in the driver's seat, forever, but what I've built is truly evergreen.
That's perfect, John, because that's the big problem with multi-level marketing and that sort of stuff. You can build these gigantic organizations, and the moment the SEC steps in and says, oh, you guys violated this or that, the whole thing falls like a house of cards, and the business you've spent years building just disappears overnight. And I've had some experience with multi-level marketing happening, and I just pray that you're around here a long time to keep this going, but God forbid, I just wanted to make sure that there was a back door to this thing that kept running.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's one of the things that I just have not liked about MLM stuff. I know there's a lot of people that, that's their core business and they make good money with it. But I also don't have anyone that I know that's been in one for a long, long period of time that hasn't got hosed by it. So you're absolutely right. And this is the same thing with affiliate marketing. If any of you are, if that's your business model, if it's MLM or affiliate marketing or a combination of both, you never want to build their business. You want to build your business and use them as a sales channel. That's the sharpest, most intelligent thing that you could do. Because, like, let's say I'll use affiliate marketing, for instance. I know so many affiliate marketers that don't make their own list. They will promote, they'll do SEO, they'll do pay-per-click, they'll buy traffic, and they're sending it directly to the offers from their affiliate offers. They're not collecting the email addresses themselves first. And I'm like, oh my God, why? Because think about it. If you're going to do affiliate marketing to a niche, that niche needs other stuff. So you might be able to promote 10 different products. What are you going to do? Buy the traffic 10 times when you could buy it once and you could use it over and over and over and make 10 times the money on the same traffic spend? That's just insanity to me.
It's called a bridge page, John. I found out about that thing because I did some direct email marketing, like you said, bought the list, and I threw $3,000 at lists from guys that are supposedly with good reputations and got exactly 0, and realized that they said, well, you have to do a bridge page, which is where the traffic you drive goes to a page where you basically are doing the introduction to the affiliate program that you want to sell. So you're actually pre-selling, you're setting it up, and the conversion rate goes up by double digits when you put a bridge page in there, and that's where you connect your email and all that stuff. And if you're not doing that, you're really blowing it.
Correct. Yeah, because like if you look at the way I do affiliate marketing, if I'm going to send somebody to an affiliate page, usually I'll do some sort of a webinar. I will use the relationship that I've created with my list to sell the product. And, that's the same thing. It's a bridge. You don't just send them there cold. Like, I wouldn't just send out an email that says, hey, here's a link to this, go get it. No, I would say, hey guys, I've been using this XYZ product and here's what it's doing for me. Let me show you how it works. It's really cool. They're doing a special offer. If you're interested, here's the link. That's the way to approach it. And every time I do that, I make a bunch of sales on the stuff. I also, this is one thing that I do, most people don't do, is I encourage people not to buy it just because I say it's good, just because I'm using it. I encourage people to buy stuff that they can use and it will help them. Who cares what it's doing for me? If it can't do the same thing for you, I wouldn't encourage you to buy it. Right. I mean, I don't like just sell stuff for the fact that I can. So, and I am very different in that. I don't know of anyone else in this space that can honestly say that. I talk people out of more stuff than I talk them into, because for me, it's got to be right. It's got to be right.
There's something about sowing and reaping, John. That's why you're around so long.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Lauren.
Hopefully you can hear me.
Yep, we got you.
Okay, cool. Nice, because my microphone's been playing games with me.
I know you're coming through good.
Okay. Almost forgot my question. Besides my question, like I do cold email marketing. Like I send like 7,000 of those a month, so I can I hopefully give a little guidance on that. So
Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely.
yeah, because I know people. It can be very technical. And I try to make it a little less technical for those who are trying to do it. Some basic programs, because GMass recently had an issue with Google. And because we used to use GMass heavily for certain things, and they had an
Okay.
issue with Google. Google changed access to the API, which is what a lot of these cold email platforms kind of use. And
Yeah.
so it's been a little bit of a mess with them. So haven't been using them since that incident, like 3 months ago. So just a warning for everybody, if you're wondering if you use it, they were having some issues, and that's a Google kind of putting a cold email slap on a lot of the other programs. So just to let you guys know. Well, what we do, like I already have like domains that are warmed up, and I create multiple email accounts with that. And so there's like your DMARC records, your SPF records, and stuff like that. It's kind of important when it's sending cold email, because platforms like Google will filter out. So if they think you are fake, or especially, so they'll analyze the content of the email, as well as, do you have the security records to let us know that this isn't some type of scam, or if it's some type of bug or Trojan horse. So they actually look for those kind of things when you're sending, which is why it's important to have those kind of security records. Here's the thing: it's a pain in the butt to set those up. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Is that the reason why using Gmail is a better option, because of the delivery rates?
Sometimes they made some changes. So like a lot of us, we either used Gmail type of account. So like we'll go to workspace account, do that, or we'll use Outlook. But what's been happening on the flip side of that is that some of the tech is a little smarter now. So like if the account you are talking to is a Gmail account, it seems that a Gmail related account, so like I go to Google Workspace and I get a domain, I do an account from them, tends to work slightly better. Versus if it's going to an Outlook account, Outlook might take a second glance. But because Gmail tends to be more the dominant player, you probably will have a little bit better chance. But now it's getting to the point where we're finding that depending on the type of email account you're sending to, the more mature ones are kind of like filtering based on where this email is coming from. So is this like a Google related email? Is it an Outlook related email? Is it Zoho? Whatever. That's kind of what we've been finding over the last few months. With that, with that type of sends, I use a lot of Gmails, but also use other accounts too to get the sending through, because your biggest battle at first is trying to get it in the inbox in the first place. Just trying to get it there. That's the first battle. That's the first monster or dragon you kind of have to fight. The second one after that is getting someone to actually open the email in the
Yeah.
first place. So that's a subject line. And third is getting them to read it enough that you get them to take one particular action. All right. So you got those are the three major battles. Can you get it in the inbox? Once it's in the inbox, where it lands in the inbox, because it could just go to spam, trying to avoid that, or promotions. Getting them to click on it, and then after they click on it, getting them to read at least something to get a grasp of what you said, in order to get them the next step, which is, for some people might be clicking to a landing page to actually do the capture that way. For some folks, like me, it's hop on a call. It just depends on who I'm running that for. So you want like emails that are highly relevant to whatever it is you're talking about. Is going to be extremely important, because people will just toss the emails, or you'll just get you'll get the responses that you get, which is sometimes mostly nasty. So it is what it is. So yeah, like when you do cold email, you have to have a very thick skin, because you are going
Yeah.
to get those responses. That's just part of the game, especially if you start sending a lot of emails. Typically that's just kind of nature of the game that we play. But the technical setup of it, there are some tools that make it a little easier. So there's one tool we use, like Instantly, which allows you to have multiple email accounts inside of it, and they don't charge you per email accounts, because most of the tools will charge you per user email account. So if you use like Mailshake, which I think they charge you for the year now, if you have one email account with you, they charge you for that one seat. If you need 2 or 3, which as a cold email provider, you want to have at least 2 emails or 3 going out. Most of you will not be doing the volumes that I'm doing. So you need 2, because one could get shut down. You still want to be able to continue to, do your thing, especially if you're trying to scale this program up. You're going to want to have that kind of going for you guys. They don't charge you. It's just one fee per month, and you can put as many emails as you want, accounts in here as you want, which is why I use it. It saves me like hundreds of dollars a month versus what I was paying. The setup isn't too bad. The other part, though, that they don't do is all the security. They partially do the security stuff. So like your DMARC records, SPF. So it depends on what initial email platform you're going to use. If you're using Gmail, or if you're going to attempt to use Outlook, you got to make sure you set that up with the domain that you're using. So a lot of you are buying dummy domains. You have to set up those records for those domains to help increase your deliverability across the board. So that's your DMARC records, your SPF, DKMI records that you're gonna. It just increases your sending. So it says, "Hey, I'm friendly. I'm not trying to rob you." In terms of inbox, that relationship, or else the emails will bounce, and then what will happen is it will actually kill your domain reputation a lot quicker. And you want to try to keep your domain at least for a little bit, especially if you're doing not much sending, because I don't think anyone here is doing like over 1,000 sends a week just with cold email. So, but you don't want to kill your domain like in 2 weeks or in like 4 weeks. So, those things are set up for a reason. And yes, it could be technical and a little pain in the butt. But for most of it, with some of the tools, it's not as bad as it was. I literally had to go in the back end of Gmail accounts or in order to set that stuff up, and then go to other tools to get it back. And I used to have an AWS account that was set up for cold email. That's a pain. That's technical nightmare. I don't think I want to spend weeks doing that. So for those of you who are trying to set those things up, whatever domain you bought, your 2 or 3 email accounts that are set up for that, you want to make sure your security records are set up for that domain. So when you're sending, you can actually get in the inbox, that your subject lines are curious and relevant, so that you can get to click, so that you can get people to open it in the first place. And then whatever you have in that email is extremely relevant, and you know exactly what you want them to do, and that's what you tell them to do. You don't give them no options. You give people options, you get indecision. So make sure you give them one option. So for most of us, it's going to be, well, I need you to go to this landing page, which is going to have more information, right? Where you can do your tracking and all that stuff. But you have to keep it really relevant, and you're going to have to send people a few emails. It's not going to be 1 to 3 emails. It could be, I have campaigns that are like 9 emails long, and I have campaigns that are 15 emails long on top of that. So just keep in mind that you're going to have to have multiple emails, sent during your sequence, in order to, maybe it might be email 6 that actually gets them to the landing page. right? And that's what you'll probably find out with some of you. It might be 6 emails later. So just keep that in mind, and also keep in mind the rate of sending. So if you have a 6 email sequence, then you want to give a couple of days in between before you send the next sequence. Why? Because one, Gmail and everybody looks out for that. If you send it out every single day on cold email, they will shut your stuff down very quickly. So give yourself 2 to 3 days in between as well for that. So I hope that helps. If that helps anybody.
What was the name of the platform you were talking about? This one?
Instantly. So I'll spell that out in the chat because it's instantly.ai. That is one of the tools that I use. So you can set up as many email accounts in there as you want, send as many campaigns in there as you want. It connects with Outlook, G Suite, as well as any STMP server you're using. So if it was SendGrid, if you want to mess with that, if it's there's another tool I use that I just have them I get domains from them, I warm up with them, and I do all the records with them as well. Not Instantly, that's a different tool. Instantly will also do warm-ups too. So if you have a new domain and you create your 2 email or 3 email accounts, you can actually have Instantly will do the warm-up process with you. That's something that Gmash used to do. They can no longer do that. So any tool that's associated with a Google API for email can no longer warm up domains on Google, which is why a lot of them are not getting the same sending rates, or they're having issues right now. So Instantly still does that because their API is not with Google for their most of their sends. So a lot of us use it for warm up and sending multiple, because we don't get charged for each campaign or each email account we send up.
That's cool.
I just saw in the chat somebody talking about Brevo. You can't use Brevo for John's leads. They say on every single page you cannot import leads unless they've been double opted in. And then
They're serious about that.
Yeah,
The account shut down.
Yeah, that's like Kartra.
and also Mailflow does a free warm up where you can send and receive emails. So Mailflow will do that.
Hey, Lauren, would you be interested in doing some kind of a training on this, like walking people through how to do the email marketing?
Yeah, sure. Someone asked me to do a course because I try to make it simple, because a lot of guys in the game, they make it complex, and it is a pain in the butt, but they go overboard because that's all they live. That's their life.
Yeah. I would recommend, putting a course together for that, because it sounds like you got it figured out. And I think, a lot of people would be interested in that if you were to put something together like that.
Okay.
Yeah, she just threw out some really great nuggets, John. That would be a great thing to.
Yeah, sure. I don't mind putting someone had asked me, and I'm like, I've been doing this kind of stuff since I had a 9-to-5 job and was in the office and had to hold on the side and be like, okay, this email need to go through because I need to get out of here. So, so I've been doing it for a long. Like I still get really good responses for different people. Like the offer matters a lot, and who you're talking to. But people don't realize how if you get it really right, that you can send 600 emails and you're going to get like maybe 7 or 8 positive responses, which is incredibly high once you got it really dialed in. But it's the technical stuff you got to get out the way so that you can have room to send, and then it's the offer and what you need to do, what people are going to look for, how people are going to click in the email, and with making sure that it's relevant to what your landing page, or if it's a phone call, or getting curious enough that I just have to talk to you.
Yeah.
So I could put something together if y'all thought it was helpful.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be really cool. I know there's some providers out there that will do this stuff for you, but it's pretty expensive.
Yeah, it's pricey.
And there's a lot of guys that are selling lists, and they approach me all the time trying to sell me lists. And every time I get somebody that wants to sell me a list, I say, well, I'd buy the list if you're going to mail it for me. And then they're like, oh, we don't do that. I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, because it's work, and it can, depending how many sends, and you're trying to protect domain reputations and get new domains, it could be expensive. Like I used to spend, and that was just for someone else's company I was doing a favor for. It was costing me like $700-800 a month
Yeah.
in order to have a. So it can get pricey. Nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants all the domains shut down. You're throwing away domains. Then setting up one domain just to have like 2 or 3 email accounts, it could take you 20 minutes per email. So you're looking at 40 minutes. That's when you know what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's cool. But the other thing is too, once you build your mailing list, like let's say you get these people opted into Kartra, all these problems go out the window. This is just in the beginning, this is just in the lead gen part of it, which this has been the biggest stumbling block for a lot of businesses. A lot of businesses have great products. They've even figured out how to sell them. Their problem is getting people to talk to. It comes down to the paying for traffic. And there's no way around it that I know of unless you partner with somebody, which quite honestly is why I've gotten the majority of my sales and traffic from referral partners. I do a lot of affiliate stuff. Most of what I sell is sold through affiliate relationships. These guys have been at this for a long time. They're very serious about building their mailing lists. They're doing all this stuff that I don't really care to do because it takes too much time. So I let them do it. And then I let them promote my stuff and build my list off of their efforts. And they're paid handsomely. It's like, I'm still paying the money. I could put the money out myself and do it myself, or I can just share the same money with them because they've already done it. So there is definitely some effort in this. And I'm going to tell you something that I know and I know you've heard it, but business provides freedom. But the thing is, if it was easy, everyone would do it. People that are really successful, people that are, wealthy from their own success, that wasn't easy. They didn't have that handed to them. I'm talking about people that are wealthy from their own success, the ones that got in and ground it out. They did things differently. They did things that other people won't do. And that's why they have things that those people don't have. So if you want what others don't have, you have to be willing to do what they won't do. And it's not easy, and it's not going to be comfortable. If you think you're going to be in the comfort zone and everything is going to be great and success is just going to rain from the sky, I don't know what world you live in, but I'd love to come visit. Give me the address. I will be there in short order. But the other thing I can tell you is it is absolutely worth the effort. The juice, I can tell you right now, the juice is worth the squeeze. And some of you will do it differently. Some like me, I've figured out how to do it without killing myself. I've figured out leaning on other affiliates. I would have made a lot more money if I did the work myself, right? But I'm perfectly happy sharing the wealth. The other thing too is most of us here, we're one man or one woman shows, and it's almost impossible to do everything yourself. So creating alliances, creating partnerships, working with other people to get things done that you can't do yourself is going to be important. Like for me, I have a team of web developers. I don't do the web development. They're really good at that. I just pay them to do that. They get that piece of my business done. I've got programmers. I don't want to be a programmer. They do the programming. I come to them with the ideas. I say, hey, I'd love to have this happen. What would it take? And then I let them figure all that stuff out. You know, when it comes to the sales, yeah, I could spend a bunch of my time and effort running traffic campaigns and pay-per-click campaigns and doing all that stuff. I am more than capable of doing that if I wanted to, as all of you are. But no, I'm a little too lazy for that. I would prefer to not make as much, but go out and leverage someone else that wants to work that hard. You know, maybe they don't want to do what I'm doing. They don't want to put a program together or create the thing that's actually for sale. They just want to sell it. You know, the most successful business owners are just that. They're business owners. They're not workers. They're not doing the work. They own the business and they get others to do the work for them, whether it's in-house or out, you know, outsourced or whatever, but they're not flipping the burgers. They're doing the work between their ears, not with their hands.
Yeah, and John, you only make less money on that first sale, but if you have 10 people out there all running affiliate programs, you've just multiplied yourself times 10 and you're still not doing the work.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like people ask me, like, why would you pay so much? Like, I'll give an affiliate 50%, right? I'll give the broker that set the affiliate up and wants to babysit the affiliate, make sure they send the emails and do all that work. I'll give them 10 to 25% on top of the 50. So I'm literally giving 75% away. In the equation, in that equation, I'm making the least money of all the people involved, right? If you look at it at a glance. But if you look at it where I've got 50 of these guys all making 50% and I'm making a little sliver off of the whole pie, I wind up making more than all of them. But they feel really good knowing they're making more than me on their sales. So they work their ass off. They're like, wow, I love working with this guy. This guy's awesome. This guy actually lets me make some money. You know, where they go to another affiliate and they'll get 25% and they'll try and undercut them and cut them out of every other deal. So it's, you know, I just look at things a little differently. So, all right. Who else has something good to share for us here? Let's see. Oh, I think Brad hopped off. I was going to call on him. He's been doing a lot of email stuff. Brad Burnell. Don't see him in the list here at this point. Maybe we'll pull him in next week. I know he does a lot of cold email stuff. So he's been successful at it.
John, I did some calls on the leads that I generated.
Yeah.
From the list I had. I
Did you have
went
any
ahead and just called a bunch of people.
Did you have any luck at all with that? Because from all the people that were doing the calling, we did not get good results on the calling.
Yeah, it was a mixed bag, but I mean, I think for the number of leads that I purchased, I think maybe 50. I did 10 per day for about 5 days. So I don't think it was bad if I was able to get one possible sale out of it.
Okay.
And so that's where I'm at right now. And I think that's a good result, 1 out of 50.
Okay.
And then there's still some that haven't answered that I still have potential.
Sure. Okay.
So
Cool.
we'll see. Yeah.
The thing, when I say it wasn't as good as we'd expected, I think a lot of what we got feedback on was a lot of the numbers were either disconnected or it was the wrong number. And and when you think about it, like when people opted in for this, there's a good chance they put bogus phone numbers in. And we don't really have a way to validate the phone number like we do the email. Like when we're collecting the data, let's say somebody runs a search for the keyword, we now match up the marketing ID. So we know that identity, but then we have to go to big data to get the rest of the information. And that information has come from that person filling out an online form at some point in the past. We don't know if the form was filled out last week, last year, or a decade ago. Usually it's fairly recent because people fill stuff out all the time, which it updates. But it could have been, a bogus phone number. Maybe they just wanted to download the thing, but they didn't really want anybody calling them, so they put in a wrong number. And there's no way to really validate or verify the phone numbers unless if you've got a form where it actually calls them and has them put in an ID number from the call, then you can validate. But our data source is not to that level. So we are, when we release the program based on that knowledge, we're not going to promote it as having phone numbers. We're going to say it's a potential possibility they have the numbers, but we're not going to sell it as though they're usable numbers. Just because of that. Just because, I really don't want to be promoting something that isn't 100% accurate and on the up and up. So the phone numbers will not be promoted as that's what you're buying. You're buying basically the email addresses, and the phone numbers, if they're good, is just a bonus.
Okay. And what about the home addresses or whatever?
The home addresses, we haven't really had anybody test to verify those yet. So I'm assuming that might be just like the phone numbers. I don't really know. I haven't got anybody yet that wants to do like postcard mailings to them.
Yeah.
But I would say it'd be worth it, because even with the numbers, at getting these leads at that price, the numbers would probably stack up in your favor, even if a good percentage of them were bogus. But what I would do, I think, like, the way I'm going to promote this and the way I'm going to train people to use the system is to start off with the email. Like, start with the email, get them to opt in just with strictly name and email. Just opt in with your name and email into our system. And then you can validate them down the line. Like, if you want to actually send them something, follow up with an email that says, hey, I've got this thing. I would love to send it to you. It's, it's free of charge. I'm just going to mail it to you. I just need your address. And then they will enter their address. And if they think they're getting something, they're not going to put a bad address in.
Right.
Versus like, just filling out some online form for a coupon or something. They're going to go, oh God, I don't want to, 50 million people sending me crap. So they'll put bad stuff in. But when they start creating, or rather, when you start creating a relationship with them, they will trust you way more, and they'll give you good information. So that's where I'm going to have everybody start, is cold email campaign to get them to opt in for a free, simple thing. And then you build the relationship. Then you can start offering them more, invite them to a video, get to know them, let them get to know you, build that trust, and then ask for more and more and more, and eventually just ask for the sale. But help them, create demand and desire, introduce them to what you do, show them how it works, show them how it's the thing that's going to get them what they want, and eliminate the objections and make them an offer. So it's a process, they call it a sales process or a sales pipeline or a funnel. You can call it whatever you want, but it's just creating a relationship to create a customer.
Love it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. But I am excited to know that the phone numbers did work for you. That's really cool. So you're the first one possibly that's called enough to actually figure it out. Because like I said in the beginning, if you've got a 1, 2, 3% rate and you only call 10 numbers, you're not ever going to know if that's accurate. You know, you have to call 100 or 200 or 500 to really know, okay, out of 500, you know, because you might get like 5 good ones in a row and it's between the 300th and the 350th. You never know.
Yeah.
So
That's true. And then I used a website called truepeoplesearch.com
okay.
to find the numbers if they were wrong or if they were missing.
Oh, cool.
And so that was helpful with some of those cases, not all of them, but yeah. Mhm.
And it was that a free service or?
It's a free, online service.
Oh, cool.
You could
And
look up
what's it called?
truepeoplesearch.com.
Okay, True People Search. I'll have to
Yep.
check that out.
Spelled just like it sounds. And so that helped me. And since I was looking for homeowners, the other like discrepancy I found with that particular keyword was sometimes like other family members were searching from that a home address or that phone number that's registered to that address.
Yeah.
And so the homeowner didn't know anything about it, but usually like one of their family members was the one doing the search.
Gotcha. Yeah, that
Mhm.
happens. That could get a little dicey. In fact, I don't know if you remember, but when Facebook started doing its retargeting, there was some cases where there was some potential trouble. Like I forget who it was, but somebody was looking to propose to his girlfriend and he was looking at engagement rings. So all of a sudden now Facebook is popping up engagement rings all over his stuff. And one of the ads was, we see you've been shopping for an engagement ring. And his girlfriend saw that and it blew everything apart. And there was some kind of a legal action taken against Facebook for that.
Wow.
And I think it got thrown out because, you know, that's kind of ridiculous to try and hold somebody accountable for, you know, whatever you're doing. But, you know, we occasionally potentially could look at stuff that we wouldn't want other people to know we're looking at.
Yeah.
Mr. McLean,
That's true.
yeah, I did that a time or two.
It's true. Yeah.
But yeah, that's the same thing with the marketing ID. The marketing ID is potentially a computer user, but multiple people might be using that computer. So, I mean, it could literally be coming off of a workstation where a number of people are using it. So,
yeah, I did get one of those corporate like offices as well that popped up on the list. Someone at work was doing a search.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, cool.
So yeah, mixed bag, but
yeah. And I mean, that's any kind of traffic source you're going to get. They're not all going to be perfect. You know, you could be doing pay-per-click and people could be running the search for a school report. You know, that's not a potential customer, but there's no way to know. You know, you're going to get a mixed bag anytime you're doing any kind of advertising.
yeah.
The more specific you are, the better off you'll be. But there's no way to buy 100% pure traffic. It's just not ever going to happen. So it's a numbers game. You just have to make sure that the numbers are acceptable and that you're doing everything that you can on your end to get your conversions up to where you can actually make the numbers acceptable. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. I'm glad some people are getting in here. I know some of our hardcore email lead gen guys are really, really excited about this. So that makes me really happy. My biggest challenge, I think, is obviously going to be putting a system in place where people that are not familiar with lead gen can actually get the emails out. Get the emails out and play the game like the big dogs.
You know, John,
Yeah.
with this here, it made me actually sit down and write down what is my sales process? What is, for me, it's like, you know, I mean, how I want to with emails, but how really customers come to me.
Yeah.
And that's what I totally rewrote. It's why I'm like, dude, everything. I'm like, I need to have this set up right before I go in and grab a thing that throws me 20, 30 leads a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, like I said, traffic is like a magnifying glass. If you've got problems in your process, traffic is going to magnify them.
Thanks. You just magnified my problem, John. I appreciate that.
But on the other side of that
I know how to fix
coin, and the other side of that coin, when you fix it and you have a process that works, it's going to magnify that.
Mhm.
So if you have a client acquisition funnel and you know that you can scale up your clients, it will magnify that. So there is
Especially with cold email, I
sunshine.
can tell you that.
What's that, Lauren?
I said, especially with cold email, I've been running. I call it like a machine. Like once you get the machine tuned, when something breaks, it'll let you know, because people in live time will respond to you like, "What the hell is this?" And be like, "You'll get it." It's like,
Yeah, that's true. When you're running a high performance car, you know a little quicker if there's a problem. That wall comes up a lot faster.
speeding down the street. But I'm also excited about the because I was talking to another direct marketer. He's like does a lot of offline stuff. And he's a big dude in it. And I was just kind of describing, hey, yeah, I'm testing this out and see how this works. And I was like, we get addresses. He's like, oh, you get addresses. So he's really excited because
Yeah.
if we can get even some of the addresses, because these guys, they buy lists. They're going to send out a whole direct mail campaign. That's what they do. And
Yeah.
so like if they could get like an intent based, oh, I know this person was looking for something around this. Oh, they're willing to buy leads all day.
Yeah. Leads, I mean, lead gen is a massive, massive industry. If let's just say, for instance, you were looking to scale a business, and some people, like for me, for instance, I don't need a business that I'm in love with, right? I know a lot of people say you got to be in something that you love doing. I've never looked at it that way. I like every business I've been in it's been based around two things. How little can I put in for effort and how much can I make out of it? And if I get those two right, I don't care what it is, I'm going to love it. Right? It doesn't have to be like something I like doing. Like the photo business, high-end commercial photography. I never had a love for photography, nor do I now. But that was the most enjoyable way to make the living that I wanted to make at the time. It wasn't like, I did anything I hated doing, but I wasn't in love with it. I didn't get up every morning going, oh God, I want to make a beautiful picture today. I got up every morning saying, who's going to pay me the most to create something that they need? Right? That was it. So if that's the case for you, and maybe, maybe that thought will even shift your whole idea about business, there is a potential for you to make a massive amount of money with this program, because we're going to offer it as an agency version where you could literally sell campaigns to people like business owners that wanted lead gen and knew how to do this stuff. You could just sell them the campaign. You can mark the leads up however you want. You can charge a monthly access fee for the management. or even for just the access. You don't even have to manage the campaigns, just sell them the account. And, you know, they're paying you monthly for access to the account, and you're marking the leads up. So every time they buy a lead, you might make a quarter. You know, find a company that buys 1 million leads a month and make 25 cents off each one, right? That's $250,000 a month by finding the right person, right? You don't have to be in love with lead gen, but I guarantee you're going to love $250,000 a month.
John, I had a bright idea flit through my brain. I wanted to run it by you. If these leads are actually high intent, and it turns out that if you've got your messaging right, you can get that 30 to 40% conversion rate, and giving the CPA networks, not just the cost per click, but the cost per action.
Yeah.
Could drive leads to a place to a market that has an incredibly high pay per click or pay per action platform, and you could just feed them more leads, and you could get paid the whole click rate for your $2 leads. At least I don't know, but I don't know what the numbers would have to be, or if you think that that's even worth exploring.
It is, if you are looking for that type of a job, because that's a job. That's an ongoing job that when you stop working, it stops paying you.
If we're getting the leads, they're feeding them into the system once the email is set up, and you're sending out people to go to the website to, you know, I don't know what, and pick up an insurance quote, and they go to that insurance quote. Isn't that whole process automated because it goes to their lead and then they pay you on an automated fashion? It
would seem so, but I can assure you with cold email, there ain't gonna be nothing automated. You're gonna have to be getting new email addresses and warming them up and all that stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, that's not automated. You have to kind of build the machine and keep it maintenance. Like you're constantly buying domains and warming domains up for a minimum of 2 weeks, and then getting the multiple emails, having that go through, checking the domain sender reputation, and then taking it out and then putting those new emails in rotation with another one starts to go bad. You're constantly having to do that. And then sometimes, you know, getting the account shut down. So therefore you have like 14 different accounts. Like it's a constant like maintenance thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So
are you saying you're saying the churn rate on disposable emails is high? I didn't get that. I didn't quite understand that. Are you saying those, because I bought the com for my main website, but I have the infonet and org on my main domain, that you're telling me those aren't going to last very long. I'm going to have to get some other variations.
There's always well, rule of thumb that also depends on, did you have all your stuff set up correctly to have it last longer than usual? You know, but a lot of folks will be out of a domain and like, or email account, one of them within probably 6 months, depending on their sending rate. So like you can have like variations of your domain. Like I have multiple variations of different domains that I'm managing for folks. And I'm always like I'm heating up like 10 more for a company right now. So because there's 1 or 2 that got shut down, and they only been sending for 2 months. And I've been relatively conservative, but also that deals with who I'm sending to and their firewalls. But yeah, like your stuff is not, don't buy a domain that's like, I call them dummy domains for your email accounts for cold sending, and think they're going to last a year. That's wishful thinking, unless you're only sending out 5 emails a week.
Yeah.
And most likely something will happen and you will need another domain, and the emails won't send, and you'll get spoofed, and you got to handle that.
Yeah, well, that was one of the things I found out very quickly. If you're going to do anything with cold email, you have to go through, and I forget, well, you know, you just ran through it. And you said you could take 20 minutes if you know what you're doing. Well, it takes a couple of days if you don't know what you're doing before you actually get the feedback that, okay, yeah, all this stuff is set up. So, you know, it's no small task to set all that up. But I was told that is it's critical that you have all those DMARC and
SPM
and
DKIMs.
Yeah, all those crazy acronyms and DNS records and and
Yes.
text records and MX records and names, what is it, CNAME record? I mean, God, the list goes on and on. I got a whole lot more education than I cared about. But if it'll last 6 months to a year, I mean, I don't see myself sending more than, God, what, how many can you handle? 20, 30 emails a day if you're getting a decent response on them.
Yeah, but
Yeah, 'cause
that's
it
not
depends.
what you're referring to, Richard. You're talking about blowing stuff through a CPA network and making a lot of money doing it. You're going to need to run a shitload of leads through to do that.
Yes,
Well,
you will.
yeah, I was assuming that much. That my comment was not continuing down the CPA network. Because basically, if I'm just going to send out John's leads from my own domain to get them over into Kartra, and I'm sending, maybe 50 or even 100 emails a day, that's 3,000 a month. That's going to make an awful lot of stuff you're going to have to handle on the backside administratively to get all the, SEO stuff set up or whatever else you're doing.
Well,
Yeah,
if you're
that's-
doing that many sends a day, you're gonna need a couple of different emails. I could tell you that off the bat, and then your stuff on that probably lasts 6 months, depending on, because it also depends on what email, like where you're sending it to, right? So like if you're sending it to a lot of personal emails, you will get marked much more quickly than if you're sending it to a business email, and that's just the fact of the matter. So considering that a lot of those emails are someone's personal email, and you're more likely to be marked as spam in those inboxes than maybe some business ones. So like that's why I say relevancy really does matter. Because some people will just delete it and you're good, but some people be like, what the screw? And like, it just mark you as spam, as they should, right? So you probably will run through an email quicker, especially at like sending 50 emails a day, because you got to know when to start sending and increasing your sends. Because if you're warming it up, you might be increasing your sends over time to maybe 10 to 20, but at the same time you're doing your warm up, then your campaign is ready to be launched because it's been 2-3 weeks, and then you're trying to get those sends of actual emails that are trying to make you some type of profit. So if you're trying to do 50 of those, you need multiple emails because you still got the warm up going on at the same time, because you're trying to negotiate with getting into inbox and then getting into place you need to be in the inbox at the same time. So it's like a complex equation that goes into that.
That makes perfect sense. When I said 100 a day, I'm thinking three different domains sending 35 emails a day would be about the max.
So you can have one, let's say info.abc is the domain, right, that you're going to send from. You can have, because we debate on this in the cold email world, probably no more than 3 accounts, but at least 2 email accounts associated with that domain. And let's say theoretically, after you've warmed it up, you should be able to send, and this is a fight, so anywhere from safety is 30 to 50, unless you're just going to max it out. Like I know one guy, he doesn't care. He maxes it out because he buys like 100 domains every couple of weeks and does this. So I'm not saying do that. You don't need to do that. But anywhere from 30 to 50, I usually stay around 50-ish after it's been matured for a little bit. And that's a mix of some warm-up emails, which I will later tone down, and then putting the actual emails that I want to actually do something like get a phone call or whatever it is. So if you have one domain, if you have one dummy domain, you should be able to have at minimum 2 emails, which theoretically would give you up to 60 to 100 email sending power in total. But we're not counting that we're doing warm up because we need Google to be in Google's best graces, especially if it's personal email accounts, which most of us are sending to in the first place. But you'll have at least anywhere from 60 to 100 sending power, and that's just with 2 emails to that domain. You can do 3 as well, but let's just say if we're going to be conservative, we're going to do 2. So you'll have at least up to 100 email sending power. So you go from domain to 2 emails, domain to 2 email accounts, or domain to 3, whatever, which one you want to do. But you'll have a minimum sending power of 60 emails a day, up to 100 if you're doing 2 per dummy domain.
Perfect, because I was, for some reason, I had a number in my head that like 30 emails a day from one email address would be about 30 to 35 would be the most I'd want to do from any one email, and no more than stay under that 100 if I was going to do 2 or even 3 emails from one domain. I still wanted to keep each individual one at about that 30 to 35 level. And am I hearing correctly that that's about what the numbers you just were talking about?
Yeah, so we're not doing Zoho. So Zoho is some interesting stuff. With Zoho, I know the most max that was safety because they're flipping people's accounts left and right for using cold email was about 25 to maybe 30 with 30 with Zoho, but we're not going to do that because they're doing some interesting stuff. But if we're talking about any G Suite or like an Outlook account, if that's what you're going to use, or STMFP server, which you can do too. There's nothing wrong with that. Things a little cheaper, but let's say at minimum 30. So out of that 30, you're going to have about, if you're using instantly, you're going to have 20 of those 30 be warm-ups to try to get you in the inbox and where you need to be as much as possible. So you only have 10. So from any 30, now you could change that in instantly. That just makes it a little easier. You can change it to like, hey, and if 2 weeks warming up, you went up to 20. When you start sending, eventually you're going to lower that to maybe 10 or 15. Right, but most of us with our high sending, we tend to just keep it at 20, just to play nice with the Google gods, so to speak. But for you, if you're saying, hey, I want to be able to send 50 emails a day, because you got emails coming and going through this process, then what you would want to do is with your domains, you have to account for at least 15 to 20 a day for just sending to keep the domain warm and to get past the guards as much as possible. So you'll have to multiply by that. So if you have one domain and you're doing you can send 100 emails. Let's say it's 50, because you don't really have 50. You have 30 if you have 50. So think of it that way, because 20 of it is going to be warming just to be security wise for us to get past. So let's say it's 50 per domain. 20 of those are going to be warm emails. So you don't want to send no more. You can program it and instantly it's not that difficult to be like 20 warm emails are being sent a day and being responded to a day. And then now you got 30 in which you can do what you want.
Boy, is that gold. I really appreciate it. I've been really wrestling with this for better part of a couple of months now, trying to get it sorted out just to get it going. It's a challenge.
Yeah, it can be a challenge because if you don't get the equation right, and it is often what kills people's like accounts very quickly. And they're like, oh, I don't understand why my stuff is not sending. I was like, yeah, because you don't have it set up. You don't have it set up right. You stop the warm-up process and you're sending. And let's say you're getting a whole bunch of like out of office responses, if it's a business domain, or a lot of spam complaints, you have nothing to counterbalance that if you stop your warm-up. So the warm-up technically has to continue because that is the only positive measure you got going in without you manually going in and emailing random people and yourself. That's all you got. Once that's gone, you're out to the wolves. And once Google sees that standpoint, oh, wait a minute, you got 6 spam complaints in one day. They start to get trigger happy, and they'll start pausing the sending on your account if you're using a Google or Outlook is very temperamental with that, so you never want to stop your warm-up. But when in your equation comes, like if you're going to just say, hey, I'm doing 30, then okay, have it do 20 for the first couple of weeks of warm-up and then reduce it to maybe 10 to 15. But you need something positive happening in that account so that you can help your actual sending actually attempt to get through. So if you stick with 50, I'm gonna do 20 warm-up, keep 20 warm-up throughout the lifetime of that account, then you have 30, then you can be fine, or do a 15-30 mix, or do a 20 20-30 mix. So you got to just keep the equations you want to. Now you guys are not doing like massive emails like I'm doing. So from a conservative level, you should be able to, I would say, have at least 2 dummy domains and have 2 or have 4 dummy emails, because somebody is going to spam one way too many times and it's going to get shut down. So you have your backups, so you don't have to wait 2 weeks or so to warm up your backups all over again.
Boy, is that really critical information. I really appreciate it. I do have one quick question, because I have seen this done before and I thought it was kind of interesting. And then when John pulled back the curtain last week, I think it was on this, is that you send out an email, but if you put a little in the upper right hand corner of the email that you're sending, it says, if you receive this by accident and this is spam, please click here. And they click on that link and it takes them to one of your pages. It doesn't take them to an opt-out or whatever. And you do an apology and say, I'm taking you off the list. And have you ever tried anything like that? Does that cut down on that, or what do you have to get around that spam stuff at all?
Well, you have to have your can spam compliance, because that is not fun. Even though I say this, email is way more forgiving than trying to do this on text messaging, which is highly illegal now, but in a lot of cases. So email is way more forgiving. Now, if you want your cams, because there are even ESP service providers who have a version of that kind of thing. So when you say unsubscribe, it will literally take you to a page and ask you the reasons why, right? And you can kind of twist that into another way to pitch what you're doing. But as long as you give people a way to opt out, like don't take away the choice of them leaving. Once you do that, that's in dangerous territory. So if you want to be like, oh, unsubscribe, most programs unsubscribe and they'll just take them off. If you unsubscribe and you have a landing page saying, oh, we're so sorry for sending you this event, this is what it was about, just to make sure if you unsubscribe, press this button and you're out. If you do that, you can like massage that and it could be what you want. You could probably catch somebody who's just like, oh, screw this. Like, oh, this is about back pain. Oh no, I want to stay here. And you'll be good. You can actually create an opt-in there. But always give people a way out, even when you do that.
Oh, I was gonna leave the can spam inserted unsubscribe link at the bottom on all of them. I was just trying to essentially fish them a little bit at the top of the email right out of the gate. If they think this is spam, you give them a spam link at the top that actually takes them to your site where you apologize and do all the things you were just talking about. But you still leave the one that whoever is sending out your email, in most cases, I have not seen one yet that doesn't automatically put that unsubscribe link in the bottom for you, and it's not deletable. So I mean, and I wasn't planning on getting rid of that anyway, because I like John, actually, I do want to be truthful, but I don't mind putting in a little clickbait at the top saying, oh, if this is spam for you, click here and we'll take care of it. Because reporting spam otherwise is a pain in the ass. I mean, and it doesn't seem like it really gets much done.
Yeah, so when you do that, you legally have to have an unsubscribe link in your cold emails, and that all platforms will automatically put that in there. So like if I'm running a campaign through Instantly, I have to remember to go in a link and put it in there. Some will do it automatically, usually on a regular ESP. So regular like Active Campaign will automatically have it in there. But for like a cold email platform, because they allow you to structure the emails very differently than Active Campaign, right? So I wouldn't suggest using Active Campaign. It's not built for cold email. Don't do that. So yeah, you legally have to have it in there. But some people will like, hey, unsubscribe, and they use that as another pitch. But you have the fact of the matter is you have to give people a way out. It's like, think about it this way. If I'm in your house and you don't allow me to leave, then you're imprisoning me, and that's illegal. Think of email the same way. A lot of us, like, we have this thing about not letting people leave a list. Let them freaking go. Like, just let them go. You got plenty of leads. You're going to catch someone. You have emails forgiving. Take advantage of it being forgiving, but always let people out to keep you clear. Because remember, these are consumer emails. This is not business emails. And consumer laws against this is a hell of a lot stricter than on the business side. So always let people have ways out.
Absolutely. Otherwise, it's kidnapping.
Yes, kidnapping. We don't do that here.
Well, yeah, I'm actually looking forward to maybe doing a whole segment and let Lauren just do a whole training on this. It's definitely, I think a lot of people could use that for sure. So we'll see if we can get that lined up. But anything else before we wrap up for today? Anybody got anything else they want to throw out on the rafters? All right, guys, well, have a great week, and we look forward to seeing you all next week, and have a good one.
Thanks, John. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Stay cool. Thank you.